Hello everyone and welcome back to Deadly Premonition. But first, before we do anything, well actually while we go to the hotel, we shall talk about something, something, you know, quite suddenly important that is. And that is, streaming. Now, I did a stream on Monday of Fallout New Vegas, and that went amazingly fucking well. I'm still just impressed at how active the chat was and everything. So I've been getting, comments when I'm gonna stream again. Right, let's talk about that right now. And that is, I'm gonna be streaming this Sunday. That's right, this Sunday. There's been, I had a plan to start noonish my time. I had a chat with Reese, who did the moderating in my chat that time. Thank you, Reese. Let's hear a big round of applause. And we decided to, I decided on his counsel to push the start back a couple of hours to 3 PM my time. So that's 3 PM GMT plus 2, 1 PM standard UK time, and what that is in American, I haven't a fucking clue, but we can find out, I'm sure. So, for now, we can get back to the story while I figure out what the time is in some American stuff.
Zach, let's go over our progress. From what Olivia told us, and the sketchbook we found at Becky's house, Nick and Diane became our primary suspects. There were a couple of reasons for this. First, Becky gave the missing locket to Diane. Also, Nick has no alibi for when Anna and Becky were killed. We followed Nick to the art gallery, which led us, unfortunately, to our third victim. The third victim, Diane, was strung up in the entrance hall of the art gallery. Her hands were tied and a knife was sticking out of her chest. However, there was a marked difference from the previous crimes. Do you remember what that was, Zach?
A marked difference. Multiple bodies, right after the crime. Yeah.
That's right. Diane was still alive. This suggests that very little time had passed since the crime was committed. Which means the criminal was still close by. It was someone near the scene. There are two possible candidates. Nick, who was knocked out in the entrance, and one other.
Zach, who was the other person in the gallery?
Kaysen!
That's right.
Right,
Kaysen.
So...
We followed Willie, good dog, all the way
Good
to
dog.
him. Kaysen's statement came out as follows. He and Diane were in a physical relationship. That was why he visited the gallery. The two were in the middle of such a meeting when Nick showed up. Diane lost her cool and shut Kaysen up in the basement. Now, what did Kaysen hear when he was locked up?
Kaysen heard a who.
That's it. The sound of boots passing by. Nick was wearing boots that day. Which means it was likely that Diane met with Nick in her room. Nick said he argued verbally with Diane about her playing around with men, but they eventually decided to go out drinking to make up. However, immediately after that, Nick was attacked by someone in the entrance hall and knocked unconscious. We saw the rest.
Zach, do you think that Nick is our serial killer?
Yes, no, I don't know. Could you repeat the question? Nope.
Me too. Asha sent in a report too. He found a large volume of red seeds in Diane's stomach. This confirms her as a victim of the Raincoat Killer. Remaining leads. There is the locket, which is in Carol's possession, the man with the tattooed back, and the upside-down peace sign. There's a lot left to answer. I hope the coffee will give us more guidance tomorrow.
Coffee! So, all the information about the stream, about the times and
Zach,
everything
what
like
did you
that
think about
will
George
be
pouring his heart out?
down in the
I was
description.
surprised. It's the end of a monarchy. And he called me York instead of Agent Morgan. Emily? What's going on? Do you know what time it is?
I'm sorry. I couldn't sleep, so I was drinking alone.
My mother was a very kind woman. She always smiled so brightly, and baked cakes and cookies every day.
Chocolate!
She'd say that I needed the sugar because I spent so much time thinking. My father was always quiet. We never talked much. He was a federal agent, just like me. And he was hardly ever at home. The only words he ever had for me were harsh ones. I had a vivid imagination, and I remember he once said this to me. There are plenty of crazy things in this world. You don't have to go dreaming them up. And it's my job to make sense out of them. One day you'll understand what I'm saying. I found out later that my father was one of the first to ever use criminal profiling to catch bad guys. And so now I'm doing exactly the same job that he did. Like father, like son.
Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
Mind if it's something personal?
Fire away.
Who's Zach?
Zach is a friend of mine.
A very
so
special
you do have
friend.
friends.
Yeah. He's my only friend.
What kind of person is he then?
Well, I've never seen his face. But he's always with me, and we discuss everything.
When did you become friends?
A long time ago. Back when I was a child.
Well, that's a gun.
I was 7. I woke up one morning to hear my mother crying in the living room. This wasn't normal, so I headed in to see her. My father was there pointing a gun at my mother. I was so scared. I closed my eyes, so I don't remember much more. But I do remember the words my father said to me. At times we must purge things from this world because they should not exist, even if it means losing someone that you love. When I came back to my senses, they were both dead. He shot my mother and then killed himself.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. Zach's with me. It was around that time that we became friends.
I'm here.
Mm.
I'm with you, he said. I'll be here always. We can get through this together. Quite aside from that terrible scene in front of me, that voice seemed to make me calmer.
So, Zach appeared at the
And
time
here we
with
are,
great personal
Working
trauma.
together,
Woohoo!
getting through things.
This is the first time I've ever told anyone about this. I wonder if Zach will get angry.
Yes.
That's a sad story. But I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I'm sure there was a reason for what your father did.
I know. I think maybe I became an agent to find out why he did what he did.
Oh yeah, York, I forgot to thank you.
For?
Thank me? For what?
You saved my life. If you didn't save me at the gallery, I would have died along with Diane.
No need to thank me for that. I'm pretty useless. I couldn't save Becky. I couldn't save Diane.
What did you just say? Useless? I was never expecting to hear you say that. Huh. There might be a modest guy in you after all.
Finally, you noticed? You're a little slow, aren't you?
Maybe hopeless, but not useless.
Also a bit of a mong.
Zach,
Oh, look at those shoes.
do you think Emily got home safely?
That's brilliant. I want
Anyway,
shoes
I
like
think
that.
it's more serious of a situation than I thought. Do you remember? Our conversation with Emily. She's really interested in you. I think she's starting to have certain feelings for you.
If that's the case, Zach, you and I are rivals. This is a very serious situation indeed.
Well, if it comes to that, let it be a fair fight. Agreed?
York, you and Zach couldn't have a fair fight if you tried, because one of you lives in the other's head.
Thomas! Thomas! Let me out of here! Come on, please! Just for a moment. 1 second. Hate it in here, Thomas. I think I'm going mad. I know you're there! Come on, please! Thomas! 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 Thomas!
Sorry, I'm not quite sure I caught that. Did you say Jeffrey? Stephen? Thomas? Thomas, yeah? Kinky. The thick plottins, doesn't it? Yes, it does indeed. That last bit was relevant to my interests. Okay. Payment. Payment. And we are starting to scare fucking 20,000. Episode 2, part 2 has now been cleared, so I think we're about... We don't really need this because we're still in the middle of a thing. All the Zach view is just a Oh, and we return to the Dreamscape. Episode 3, 14. Tea break. Yeah, I think we're actually starting to get closer and closer to the end. Well, of course we're getting closer and closer to the end, but closer and closer in a meaningful way, rather than the kind of standard, oh, well, it has to end sometime. The story certainly has started to thicken. We've got, Angel Isaiah. Extra bonus for a card. What was it, 400? Quite a lot. What can we go back? I wonder. No, we can't. So yeah, so in the previous part, we of course got more information into the character of George, and we know that he went through personal trauma at the top of the morning to you. And who the fuck might you be?
Open this door. There is no turning back. You still want to enter?
I do. It's better than staying here.
Very well then. Off you go.
It's Harry. He's got the things on his throat, like the breathery thingies. It's fucking Harry.
Look carefully, boy. At times, we must purge things from this world because they should not exist, even if it means losing someone that you love.
That's a bit of a harsh lesson for a child. Alright then. Things are getting spooky.
Mr. Morgan, do you want a refill?
Yes. Thank you.
Is the coffee that good, Mr. Morgan?
Coffee is a vital, investigative tool. I know exactly what to do now.
Yellow tags are 60% off.
It says to hurry, and the first letter of each line is H-A-R-R-Y. Hurry to Harry. Looks like the time that he was talking about has come. Let's go pay the problematic rich boy who owns half of the town a visit.
Brilliant.
Polly, I think I'm going to go see Harry today.
Oh, really? He's a little strange, but I think he's the most trustworthy one around here. I think you'll have fun with him.
If you say so, Polly. Then we probably will.
Of course! Now, give me your cup, and I'll give you some more coffee.
I'll see you later, Polly.
Mr. Morgan, what about the coffee? Don't you want a refill? Your coffee!
Ah, Polly, we've got something better. Yay! One of the things that we've actually neglected to do entirely is fishing, which is a little bit sad. But then again, it is a bullshit part of the game that doesn't really add anything to anything.
Hey, am I still a suspect?
A little bit.
No.
Okay, well, good. My wife and I have been living separately for over 3 years now. Diane, she's a single woman, so this shouldn't be a problem.
That's true.
I feel so bad for Diane, though. Gosh. Did you find out who did it?
I can't discuss that.
Yes, of course. I understand. You don't have to tell any of the folks around town about me and Diane, do you?
No, I won't do that. But it's a small town. I'm sure the rumors have started already. Nothing to be ashamed of, right? What's there to worry about?
Nothing in particular. No, nothing at all. I'm clean as the sheets in this hotel. What's with that look? We don't have a problem, right?
It looks like Kaysen is involved with another woman in town. We can only hope it isn't Emily.
Interesting. Right. Off we go then. We'll have a chat with Polly.
Oh, hi. Oh,
And we'll check the
hi.
shop if there's anything interesting. For example, shotgun shells. Yay! Yep. Uh-huh. Did my eye spy a new suit? Blue striped suit? Oh my. Anything else that interesting? Not really. Just different kinds of bait. I'm finished, thank you very much. We've got a new suit! Although my plan was to keep this suit on until it starts stinking so that we can get a good look of those flies, because this game is a little bit weird about things, isn't it? Yes it is. Hello there, cat. How are you? I have a cat in a box next to my desk. It's therapy.
York, I can't find Thomas. Was he here?
No, I haven't seen him. Have you tried the radio?
I've been trying, but he's not answering.
What about Nick?
No problem with him. He's calmed down a little. He's still saying he didn't do it. Nick said that Thomas disappeared sometime during the night. He kept calling for him, but Thomas stopped responding. I'm a bit worried. George has asked for permission to search for Thomas.
I understand that things have been hard for Thomas, but surely he's just resting at home. But I'm not against looking for him. Tell George that he has my blessing.
Okay. As far as I know, Thomas always calls in when he needs a day off.
We're human, and so we are limited. As far as you know, there haven't been any serial killings here before, right?
That's right, but that's not...
Emily, I'm going to see Harry today.
What? Why? We have plenty of other leads to follow, don't we?
He did invite me over, though. It would be bad manners not to accept.
Are you really an FBI agent?
Yes!
I think the FBI would take a more logical approach to investigations.
But Emily, a serial killer does not stay within the boundaries of logic. Thus, you can't hope to capture such a killer using only logic. That's why I'm going to see Harry. You go with George and find Thomas.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Great. Thanks.
Ugh, I was an idiot for thinking you might be a good pick. I really need to work on my taste in men.
Oh dear. It seems that they both fancy each other. That's good. That's not very surprising considering how writing works, but that's good. Don't I actually have a car? Yes, I do. Where the fuck is my car? There is my car. I'm gonna take my car. I'm also gonna hit that little bump because there's an invisible wall there. Fuck it, if I had a jetpack, I'd just... Or a personal helicopter, you just take every trip that's, you know...
Zach, did you want to go somewhere before we visit Harry?
Longer than 2 fucking steps
That's
you'd
fine
take
by
with the
me.
helicopter, wouldn't you? You would, yeah. It's like, if it made any sense, like, if I lived... You know, if I lived on an estate where the fucking mailboxes were at, like... If I lived in a gated community with fucking mailboxes, like, at the gate... I would fucking drive to pick up my mail, no fucking question about it. One, because I'm a lazy bastard. 2, because fucking silly, isn't it? Right. We need to look at the map so that I know where the fuck I'm going. I am going to... Oh yeah, there's a card. Why is there a card? I thought I'd picked up the card over there. Can I get to there via here? Yes, actually I do. So I follow... Do I follow the... Okay, no, so I need to go onto the road that leads past... Yeah, so past Swery 65. Clever author fucking self-insert there, so yeah.
Zach, we've ended up with a 3rd victim. That dive I made at the gallery ended up being a wasted attempt to save a life. It's a real mess, Zach.
Dive. When's the last time I made a dive like that? Oh, I remember. Do you? It was in my late teens. We used to go to those concerts. You and I like punk rock, but we like different types of punk. You liked hard and heavy punk, like Crash and Sham 69. I like the more twisted ones, like The Damned, Buzzcocks, Iggy Pop, and Joy Division. We used to talk
Buzzcocks is
for
good.
hours about the bands we really liked, but for some reason, neither of us listened to the Sex Pistols. I wonder why that was. Seems strange thinking about it now.
Don't it just? I've never really listened to the Sex Pistols either. I prefer stuff like Exploited and the UK subs. Dead Kennedys to a certain extent, and woo, Killing Joke. Although that's I think that's post-punk, so doesn't really count there. But yeah, I'd say that if I were to pick my favorite punk band, it'd probably be the Exploited. And speaking of punk and speaking of other things, there is a very good movie by the name of SLC Punk. It's one of those movies that I actually had to import from America because I couldn't find a copy locally or even within Europe. So I had to get it from America, but it's definitely one of my favourite movies, and it stars Matthew Lillard, who is a bit of an oddball. He's done some terrible roles, but he's also done some good ones as well. And it also stars the guy who played Marshall on How I Met Your Mother, whose name I can't remember, but I'm shit with names anyway. Yeah, it's a very good movie, and it also features one of my favourite little comebacks that's not like in your face. As the protagonist, shouts at his father about his father having sold out. His father replies, "I didn't sell out, I bought in." I think that's a very good kind of twist. It's not a very happy movie, unfortunately. It's the sort of story that you could see ending on a high note in some way with the traditional classics of like screenwriting, but on the other hand, it also like goes into that kind of Clerks category of the events in the movie are what propels, like you can see what's going to happen afterwards, but the events in the movie might not themselves be
Mr. Francis York
like
Morgan.
all that positive.
Finally,
you can see the
have
positive
arrived.
change that will
You are
happen.
welcome to come inside.
But what you're treated to is the kind of what happens before that positive change can happen. So it's like you see characters battling through their problems and through their demons, and it gets weird. It's brilliant in that way. But we are unfortunately at half hour, so I'm going to be leaving this here before we go meet Harry. So, like I said, details about the stream will be in the description. You can also find them while I'm going to be tweeting about them, so remember to follow me on Twitter, all that stuff. Once again, thank you for joining me, and for now, goodbye.